Happy Easter, everybody. I am Reverend Karen Frost, the senior minister and co-founder of Spirit Uncensored, and this is our very first live Easter event. In fact, it's our very first Instagram live event in history. And what we're doing today is I'm calling this Rev Karen's Neighborhood, where we are having a variety of speakers and musicians come on. So for those of you who have joined us already, Kelly Metcalf, cousin Ashley, everybody that is joining us, get prepared for everything that is in store. And so I wanted to really spend the first 10 minutes of this experience of introducing you all to who I am, who Spirit Uncensored is, and our relationship, Science of Mind, New Thought, our relationship to Easter, just to give an idea of who we are and what we're all about. And so Spirit Uncensored itself was formed as an interfaith experience that for the vast majority of us, of the leaders who started Spirit Uncensored, we came up in the Science of Mind tradition, which essentially means that we believe that our beliefs create our reality, so that we're focused on digging into our belief systems and identifying what it is about our belief systems that are working for us and what it is about our belief systems that are not working for us, and recognizing that we have the power to change it. And so Spirit Uncensored was created in that space. And the name Uncensored came out of the Centers for Spiritual Living Next Gen Retreat, which Audra Nicole, who is speaking later today, we are having a conversation about Easter and everything that's going on with this pandemic. But at the Next Gen Retreat that I went to last summer, I received the inspiration for Spirit Uncensored, the name Spirit Uncensored, because the experience was an uncensored spiritual experience. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. And I felt like this is something that we should be able to experience outside of a one-time summer retreat, that people can come here once a month. Spirit Uncensored is what it is, that we come to Spirit Uncensored once a month, recognizing and honoring all faiths. And so what we've been doing over the course of 2020 is diving into the book, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And right now, it doesn't necessarily seem wholeheartedly appropriate to go down that path, even though a lot of people are reviewing what's happening with their money right now. And there's definitely a lot of anxiety around how rent's being paid, how businesses will continue. I recognize all of that, but I feel like each one of us are in this sort of our own journey around our finances. And I see an opportunity for Spirit Uncensored to lean into who we are at our core. And so the three words that we use to describe what we teach at Spirit Uncensored is that we are always at choice, that choosing faith will always work out in your best advantage, and that living a life of gratitude will also always work for you. And that came for me out of feeling like I am somebody who leans into the idea of wanting to be the change that I wish to see in the world. And I felt like those three qualities, that regardless of what belief system that somebody has, regardless of where they are in life, that these are three qualities that regardless of our differences in ideologies or politics, that choice, faith, and gratitude will always serve us is the best way to live. And so I felt like I received that bit of inspiration, and I've leaned into it ever since. And so Spirit Uncensored is this creative space for us to explore our own definition of God. I call it a spiritual playground. And that's exactly what's happening here today on Rev Karen's Neighborhood, is that we're playing with this idea of God, playing with this idea that each person is interacting with this experience of the pandemic differently. And I would say that honestly, I'm in a really good space right now. It helps a lot that my wife and I bought our house last year. I am able to work from home. My wife is working from home, and we do the best that we can to do things like support local businesses. We actually already had system set up in the house. My wife was already working from home once a week, so she was twice a week actually. So she was a little more familiar with it than I am. I'm looking over at her because she's sort of my makeshift producer. I deemed her as my producer of telling me when it's time for so-and-so to come on. Jamie Lula will be joining us in 5 minutes, but I'm feeling pretty good about what's happening. And I feel like this space, with it being our first Spirit Uncensored event since this pandemic, that now is really a great time to really explore the diversity of how people are showing up and responding to this differently. And I honestly feel that because I am in such a privileged space, that I acknowledge that, I recognize that, and I'm doing the best that I can to give back. And one of the ways that I give back in general is through Spirit Uncensored. This is a nonprofit. I have never taken a dollar. In fact, I tithe to Spirit Uncensored, but I don't receive any kind of salary. I am the spiritual director, the senior minister. I'm the person who came up with this Rev Karen's neighborhood concept today. I am the speaker, the bookkeeper. I oversee marketing. So I put a lot of work and my own money into this organization, and all of the money goes to support the musicians and speakers that you will see here today. And if you are inspired to donate, we are accepting donations, paypal.me/Spirit Uncensored, or we take Venmo. So look up Spirit Uncensored on Venmo. And there might be a text to give number. I did not send it to my wife in advance, and so she's probably not going to put it up in the comments, but we'll see what happens. She surprises me sometimes. And so, as I was saying, I recognize my privilege and I'm doing the best that I can to lean in, but I feel like the reason that I'm in this position of privilege has to do with what I experienced in 2008. And I know that what happened in 2008 and what's happening now are very, very different. It's not really comparable. But in regards of the fear around finances that are happening right now, that was the space that I was in my life at that time. And in 2008, I was laid off in the same way that many people in the city of Chicago, that's where I was living at the time, many of us were laid off in 2008. And at that time, I was very clear that I wanted to pursue a career in television. And living in Chicago, I knew that what I had to do was get in my car and move out here, and in LA now, which is where I am now. And I didn't have the strength, the confidence, the faith, the spiritual foundation at all to feel comfortable in making such a big move and making such a big decision. And so I Googled a spiritual center. That's what I did. And so for some of you who are joining us on Instagram Live, maybe this is your very first time experiencing an online spiritual event. Maybe you are checking us out, maybe because it's Easter, whatever it may be. I see that now is a really good time to lean into our whatever it is that is our foundation. And so for me, I found the Centers for Spiritual Living, and it introduced me to a concept of God, an idea of God that worked for me. And essentially what that is that God is everywhere. God expresses as each one of us. And I feel like the journey that I went through the Science of Mind, through the Centers for Spiritual Living, is what got me to where I am today. And the reason that I am so comfortable, that I do love my house, that I love my job, that I love the life that I'm living, is because I've been spending all of this time looking at my beliefs, identifying which ones don't serve me, and choosing qualities that do, and leaning into that. And that idea that choice will always serve us, living my life as each day is the best day ever. That's where gratitude comes into play. And then having faith of knowing that every choice that I make in my life is paying off, that I can believe in it and that I can trust in it, and that it is all going to pay off. And so I'm grateful for all of the work that I put in so far to get me here, but I recognize that regardless of wherever you are, whether you are someone who is not comfortable and looking for resources to make you feel more comfortable, or whether you are incredibly happy and finding ways to be happy regardless of the fact that it's so difficult right now, I acknowledge and honor wherever you are, and trust that this experience today is designed for you wherever you are. Whether you are resonating with me, whether someone who is joining us today is experiencing having to be creative about finding new ways to find income, or finding new ways to lean into joy, finding new ways to recognize that they are always at choice. It's this acknowledgement of knowing that the diversity, all of the voices that are coming on today are bringing their own perspective, their own idea, their own relationship to what's happening. And so Jamie Lula is who's coming on next. I believe he may have even sent me a request to do so. He did. So Lula is coming on now. I love Jamie. He's an incredible performer. He's somebody that I was a huge fan of from the very beginning, and I'm so glad. I I saw Jamie at Jamie, thanks for joining us. I saw Jamie at CSL Simi Valley, and he asked me, he basically offered to perform at Spirit Uncensored. And every time I see him, he offers to perform. And I am such a huge fan of his. So the idea of being able to have you come on today, thank you so much for joining. Tell me, how has your Easter been, Jamie?
Oh, it's been fabulous. I woke up early this morning and I did a service with Doug LeBeau online, and it was a sweet service. They had a few technical difficulties, but it went really well. And then what did I made breakfast for my son. My wife went to Agape. She was one of the nine in the sanctuary, and I walked the dogs. We just got a bunch of rose bushes planted yesterday, so I went out and was admiring the roses. And then they'd taken my ice plant out, and I'm like, why did you take my ice plant out? It's such a beautiful color accent. So I went in the garbage, went in the green bin, and pulled out a bunch of ice plants and replanted the ice plant. The ice plant's very resilient. You know, you
Yeah, I have
can
no idea what an ice plant is. Like,
yeah, it's like perfect to hold hills, like in fire areas and stuff, because
hmm
there's a lot of water in it, but it doesn't require a lot of water. It's a desert, semi-arid plant that works in this area, but it grows and it's just such a pretty color. So the roses, the ice plant. So I got to get my hands a little bit dirty. I think I still have a little bit of dirt under my nails. So it's been a great day.
I love that. How has your experience of this pandemic been for you?
You know, it's been very interesting because it's definitely brought things up for me. You know, uh, I work out of the house a lot as it is, but my son is normally at school, and we're not. You know, I because I drive, I go to gigs and stuff like that. I haven't been in the house this much since I had pneumonia in 2007. You know,
hmm
I was in literally in for about a month, and um, you know, it's been interesting. Um, I find that I'm online, and a lot of online community has been my 12-step program has all moved to online, um, and I stay in contact with those folks. And what else? A lot of meditation. My wife and I are doing a meditation together on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. She's got a thing. She's actually having me on a guest on her program Luminous, which is for women by women, which is a fabulous thing. She does it with Shafali Sabari and another woman, Greta. I don't know Greta's last name. So there's been a lot of meditations and service and consciousness that I've been able to participate in that I would normally be way too busy. People like, can you do this? And experiencing a lot of my friends doing music online. I did a concert last night on Facebook. When I get
Yes.
to do some music, a few songs that I didn't get to do last night because I only had like 60 minutes to do the concert. So I decided that for David Alexander and Rafe up in Grass Valley, I'm going to do a few songs this evening just to put it out there. So it's been a really rich and like while I haven't traveled and all my gigs got canceled, I had like a month of gigs that got canceled, but all of a sudden the online gigs started kicking in. And it's like it's been great to just make music and not have to get in my car because I drive a lot. I'll easily drive 3,000 miles a month. So, you know, it's kind of nice.
Right. So it sounds like you're kind of finding the balance of finding things to be grateful for and leaning into spiritual tools to deal with the discomfort. That's amazing. Do you have a song for us today, Jamie?
I do. I do.
Yay!
I
All
do.
right.
Let me do it for you.
Amazing.
I'm going to take my hat off.
Okay.
Um, this is a song I wrote a while ago, but I think that it's appropriate for a lot of what we're going through right now. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. cat.
Thank you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Check it out. Every moment, every step I take, with every heartbeat and every breath I breathe, I'm grateful. It's sacred, so beautiful. I feel your precious presence in my life. Come on, y'all. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. Check it out. Cause every conversation is an opportunity to see the light of love shine as our divinity. It's sacred, so beautiful. I feel your precious presence as my life. Come on, y'all. Now, I won't waste, I won't waste,
I won't waste
I won't waste one more minute
minute
of
of
my
my
life.
life.
I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. I have so much more to be grateful for Amy Steinberg for. I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. Now I don't care how old I am, how I stumbled down. I got faith and good reason to let my spirit soar like a phoenix thundering out of its dust to sing a song of truth. I'm not stuck inside illusions or the fantasy of you. And I rise and I sail and I go beyond the walls I built. And I roar like a distant hell, you're singing to the Lord. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one minute of my life. I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste, I won't waste one more minute of my life. Come on, y'all. I won't waste one more minute of my life. I'm on the waste, I'm on the waste, I'm on the waste, I'm on the waste. I'm on the waste one more minute of my life. I wanna waste, I wanna waste, I wanna waste, I wanna waste, I wanna waste one more minute of my life. I wanna waste one more minute of my life. I wanna waste one more minute of my waste. I won't waste. Waste I won't waste. Waste I won't waste. Waste I won't
Yes.
waste.
Yes, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us and for singing today. I love the message, and I love that you are bringing your own, just leaning into technology and finding ways to find comfort using your spiritual tools. So I appreciate you sharing everything with us. Thank you so much for joining. And Audra is coming up next. So have a wonderful rest of your Easter, Jamie. Thank you.
Blessings. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, this is super fun. So Audra is coming up next, and Audra, I mentioned the Centers for Spiritual Living Next Gen retreat earlier. Audra is one of the people that inspired the idea of Spirit Uncensored, and she has been an incredible support person this entire time. Spirit Uncensored was just a vision in my mind when we met, and she has been my support. She has spoken. She is talking about joining the board, which I'm super excited about. Hey, Audra, I love that you're outside. I should have probably been outside. I feel like it's like foggy in here. My lighting looked a lot nicer yesterday, but it's dark outside.
You look beautiful.
It is what it is. Thank you. I appreciate your support. You understand the challenge of lighting. You know what that is. But I love that you went outside and got good lighting for you. Tell us how your Easter has been. Oh, Audra is spinning a bit. So I will tell you a little bit.
So let me see.
Is she coming back?
Let me see.
Oh, there she is.
Is that better?
Hello.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes, that's better. Hello. Oh, I think we are losing you again, Audra. No. Okay. So let me tell you about what Audra told me today about how her Easter has been. Her and I are both... Wait, are you there? Hey.
There you are. Can you hear me?
No, I don't know. I can, yes. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work out, Audra. I may have to pit around. I'm going to X you out for a while and then see if we can get your internet back going, because I don't want to wait, maybe I will. Are you here? Are you good?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So, all right. That's better lighting. I guess I found the signal apparently. Hi, I'm so sorry about that.
No worries.
So, I'm loving this service so far. It's so good to see you. And of course, we're pink twinsy matching.
Yes.
We did not plan that, and yet here we are in true spirit. Yes. So, in the spirit of Spirit Uncensored, I am arriving today with my hair halfway perfect and halfway not even remotely done. Because that's been my experience. That is my experience in this pandemic. So much good is happening, and half the time it feels like an absolute shit show. And I know that I'm not the only person that feels this way, and I'm just leaning into that and embracing that. I
appreciate you being honest about it and using the uncensored language, even though I call it that. I don't ever do it. So thank you for living up to our name. But that's part of it, is recognizing that it's not easy all the time, right? That's what these tools are do. Like we talked about with Jamie, that utilizing these spiritual tools are what allows us to get through this in a way with more lightness than we would have if we sort of wallowed in it, right?
100%.
So when you and I talked on the phone for a second earlier today, and you said, hey, what are we doing? And I said, Easter pandemic, let's talk about one of those. And when I said that I wasn't going to get into the nitty gritty of Easter because I don't identify as a Christian, you started saying some things about Easter. And I said, yeah, say all that. So here we are. I said I would follow your lead. Say all those things that you were saying to me earlier today.
So I think if we're talking about pandemic and we're talking about Easter, the core tenets that feel most valuable for this conversation are really about birth, death, and resurrection. And that, I feel like that's just the truth of this moment in ways we have never experienced together. We talk about birth, about how amazing and, bringing life into this world, but, we don't talk very often about how awful it is and how messy it is and how painful it is and how dark parts of it are. And I think that this time is a beautiful opportunity to shed things, to birth new things, to allow that which is no longer serving us to die, to let it go, and to know that in its death and in its release, we are not dead. We are not gone. So much of who we be is tied into all of the doing that we're doing. Right? It's your job title, it's your to-do list, and all of those things have been rapidly shaken for so many of us. that we get to be in choice to look at what is serving us, what is not serving us. How would our life be greater, grander? What would we let go of? What would we keep? And the biggest theme to me that's really showing up is how many things we put so much weight on that just quote unquote mattered so much that today don't matter at all. They don't matter at all. And I think that we're tired. I think that we've been so busy doing that here we are, and all we have the space and privilege to be right now is to be. And that's a scary time. That's a scary time. A friend of mine reached out to me this morning. She was surfing through all kinds of spiritual Sunday morning services, this one and that one and this one and that one, because there's so many good ones, right? And now they're all available.
Awesome. Shout out to
Amy Steinberg for that. Yes. But then she said to me, but what I'm really called to do is just sit in quiet. And I said, okay, do that. Sit in quiet. Turn it all off. And she said, but if I do that, I will cry. And I don't know if I'll stop. And that's this dark shadow that I see myself and so many facing. We've gotten so good at filling up our schedules to be so busy to prove that we're doing so well that we haven't given ourselves the space, and we've justified it by all of the accolades. Like, I don't have to. And the things that we said we didn't have time for, now we have the permission, and we get to look at ourselves and say, okay, given this time, those things that I said that I didn't have time for, now I have the time, and yet I'm not choosing them. So what does that mean? What does that say? Do I want that thing that I say that I want? Do I want something else? What is going on? And it's so scary. It's so scary. The ground that we stand on is so unstable right now. Everywhere we look, there's fear mongering and all of these horrible things. And I don't mean to minimize what's happening by any stretch of the imagination. It is very scary, and there is a lot to be afraid of. And this is where those tools come in.
Yes.
Just what you're saying about living our best days and staying connected to gratitude, finding that space. I will tell you, one of my favorite things that I have found more time for is gratitude. It has become a multiple time a day, multiple lists practice that is keeping me afloat, and it's just giving me that space and the time to connect with people that I love, and have conversations and cry. I cry all the time. And to not judge it, and to look at the teams that I'm on and the work that I'm doing, and to connect deeper with myself and my team members. Do we love what we're doing? Is this working for us? Is something ready to be born again? Can we listen? And I love this platform. I love Spirit Uncensored. I love Next Gen. And those are the things that I'm leaning into this time, because those are the places that I get to be authentic. Those are the places where I can come with my hair undone and not apologize, because this is the truth of my experience. And I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And I genuinely appreciate you coming on and being your true authentic self, with your hair half done and half not done. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. The comment section was blowing up with everything that you had to say. So I feel like what you said really connected a lot with people. So thank you so much for all of that. I wholeheartedly resonate with everything that you're saying as well, and I appreciate you sharing it. And Jessica Brizuela, the rapping harpist, is joining us next. So Thank you very much for your time.
I love you guys.
I love you. Thanks, Audra.
Bye.
All right. So as promised, Jessica is coming up. This is, in my head, I was like 10 minutes, thinking that it would take forever when it comes to online. But honestly, I've just been rolling through here. And so I'm looking for Jessica. I don't know if she has asked. Yes, she has. Let's add Jessica on right now. I moved Jessica's time up a little bit because I realized I had my 10-minute increments off, and Jessica rolled with the flow as she always does. I saw her on these. We were talking about watching all of these services online this morning. I watched the, oh, Jessica, you're sideways. Well,
So I thought this.
so I watched Jessica this morning on the Centers for Spiritual Living Ventura feed on Facebook, and she performed this Chance the Rapper song, 5-year plan that was, and she said, "Hey, everybody knows me as the rapping harpist, so I'm just going to do that right now." And I just love one. Where do you ever find a rapping harpist? I love that I just came across her at the Hiya Center for Spiritual Living, which is the organization, the center that usually houses Spirit Uncensored when we're not online. And Jessica agreed to perform for us as well. So thank you for joining us, Jessica.
Yes, hello. Hi, Karen, and hi, everyone out there. This is my first time doing an Instagram Live. I told myself, no, I'm not going live. I'm not going live. I hate it, no. But then here we are.
I appreciate you breaking your rules for me. Thank you for that.
It's not bad. It's not. It's nice to see people. So, yeah, I don't know. Should I start with a rap? Should I start with a...
You know, do you, wherever you feel called.
Whatever I feel called. Okay,
yeah.
Well, I'll start a little mellow. We'll work our way. How about that?
Okay, sounds good.
So we're going to start with the traditional, you know...
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's Easter time, so I thought I'd start out with a little classic there. And thank you for watching at Ventura Center for Spiritual Living earlier today. I'm going to work my way up into the raps up there. So next song, which I did this morning too, is a song called Home by Philip Phillips. And I did my own little arrangement, little cover of it, a little mellow. And I like this song because during this time, the pandemic, quarantine, we can often get lost in our anxiety and get riled up. And I like this metaphor of like a snow globe. Like when you shake the snow globe, you see all the snowflakes coming out. And it's hard to see what that image in the center is. So once you stand still and let the snowflakes fall and like calm out a little bit, you can see the beauty that is inside. And so this is just for us to recognize that and just settle down. It'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons that fill you with fear. So this is called Home by Philip Phillips, my own little rendition. Hold on to me as we go, as we go down this unfamiliar road. Although the way is streaming us alone, know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. Oh, the trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Yes. I think we have time for one more, Jessica.
Awesome. Okay, well then I'll go ahead and do the 5-year plan with Chance the
All
Rapper.
right, that's exciting.
I'm gonna do my best because this morning I had a piano player and today
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to ask you, because I felt like I knew you had that piano player, but I love that you're singing it for us today. Thank you.
I'll keep a little metronome thing on here. Keep me in time. You know how it is.
Yes.
Here we go. So. Schedule vacations in your 5-year plan. You gotta schedule celebrations in your 5-year plan. You gon' have several revelations in your first 5 days. In your first 5 minutes, have your first 5 fam. For like 45 minutes, take your first shift break. There's no time for impatience in your 5-year plan. You got time for hesitation in your 5-year plan. A lot of stuff came at you at a 5-year plan. And if you follow your flight plan, you be right here praying. Eyes closed right now saying, Lord, oh Lord, I know you gave abundantly, even gave up your son for me. No need for sacrificing my plan. And I love to say your name, it come from my diaphragm. I just have to scare him off and draw a line in the sand. Anything you give to me, I couldn't grab in my hand. Anything you give to me, I know it's right for my brand. I know shortcuts cut short, long runs. I seen people on one, try the wrong one. Get drunk, pour toilet paper, that's so dumb. My mistakes, people losing their income, but we shall overcome. You got time for misstepping, time for panting, that all make us stronger. Time for them lessons, time for them blessings. Time will heal all, let's get a good stretching. Things that eat away my hopes, things that eat away at my heart, things that just wake up the arm. I know that I had a good start. I wish I could play the guitar. I know that I'm gonna be better than I ever was. I told them they're gonna see. I just want everybody to love, love. Time has come, the time has come to be who you are. The time has come, the time has come to take it all. The time has come, the time has come. Know who you are. The time has come. The time has come. Know who you are. in the back of the pack. You deserve a plaque and a pat on the back. I see it in your shoes like the cat in the hat, with the blue black slacks in the back of the nap. And it's down like a Cadillac with a flap. Came down like a satellite, down like a battle axe. Why your word insure me like it's Appalach? I don't know why you bird that rat. Why you words your bird habitat? Why did it occur where it happened at? Why there ain't no apples and apple jacks? Are you ready for the big day? I don't know, but you're well on your way. Sometimes things can seem really bad, like what we're going through right now. And this has happened throughout history, and you might think to yourself, how have people ever gone through things like this in life? But they have. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Like you can get over anything, almost. And this, I'm telling you, is true. If you trust in God's plan and in God's perfect and divine timing, you'll remember that just like in the Easter story, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead now lives right there inside of you. Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing an Easter message, because all I've said is Happy Easter. So I appreciate you just acknowledging Jesus, since I have not. And thank you for bringing your love, your light, your style. I appreciate it all. We will see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for joining.
All right. So now we are bringing on my friend Connie, Fabulous Madre is what she goes by on Instagram. And Connie and I were in practitioner class together. She's one of my favorite prayer partners. She just declined when I just invited her, though. So I'm going to invite her again. And she is just somebody who's always willing to play church with me. She was on Spirit Uncensored's original board. And every time I ask her to speak, to plan, to play, she always says yes. She's the person who helped me really connect with the teens. Hey, Connie is the family and team, you know what, you can just say what you are at GTC, and GTC, the Global Tree Center, and talk to us a little bit about Easter or pandemic or whatever you want to do. We got 6 minutes.
6 minutes?
6 minutes.
Oh gosh, you know, I just, this has been a really full day because I have youth and family ministry at 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a call with my teams for their group at 4. And it's just been a real busy day, and I thought, this is actually kind of cool. I like being busy because my current norm is very not. It's actually very slow, and I'm starting to catch up on things that I was behind on and going, oh, what's going to happen now? And it made me think, because I was thinking, well, what am I going to talk to Karen about? What am I going to talk to the folks about? And I realized the thing to talk about was, what does normal mean? You know, what does it mean to actually be in a normal place? And, you know, my go-to is, well, I used to be very busy. I had 3 jobs and I had all these projects I'm working on, and now all of that has grown to a halt. Was that my normal? You know, that's the question I keep asking myself. Was that really my normal, or was that just what I was saying was my normal?
I'm with you there, yes.
Right? Because what I'm
This
finding
is how we're always eye to eye.
is that really, what is my normal? My normal is that heart space, is that projection from love. And everything I do has to come from there. And even though I've been very busy and stacking things into my life and having myself just be some whirlwind, or, you know, what is the word I'm thinking? Whirling dervish. The reality is through all of that, I've been this one thing, this one heart-based thing, this divine energy. And even though I'm not busy, and even though I'm not having 50 different projects and having to run in 6 different directions and spinning around, I'm still the divine energy. And what does that mean now? You know, and that's really fun for me right now, because I'm sure everyone else is in a similar place, or at least a lot of us are in that place of, well, wait, how do I define myself now? and I get to define myself whatever way I want. But the reality is that I am divine. And since divine is perfect and divine is powerful and divine is everything, I have like unending choices. So I'm sitting here, I'm journaling and I'm writing, and you and I talked about a project that I'm going to start doing called It's Okay to Be Okay. And the reason I came up with that was because as we talked, it was, I feel happy that I don't have all this stuff to do. I'm sad that all these people are dying from this disease, and I don't like it. It's not a happy moment. But the golden or the silver lining to it is that, I get to really experience who I am. I really get to enjoy who I am right now, where I didn't because I packed so much into my life. So now that I'm experiencing myself and I'm getting to see what I can do, I'm realizing more and more what I'm doing is, what is my God doing? Let's take this out for a spin and see what it can do. How fast can it go? And it can go pretty fast, I'm finding out, because I can spend all day Sunday in the office. I have a new office.
Hey.
It's not quite, but I have a new office, so I can sit in the office and talk on Zoom with as many different people as need me to talk to them. And I can go for walks with the dog, or we're redoing our backyard, so I can be working in the backyard. I can be writing a book. I could be creating a new podcast. And it's okay to be okay with that. It's okay to like where I am, even in the midst of a pandemic. It's a really funny place, because I've spoken to a few people who told me how they felt a little guilty, that they felt so good, that the slowdown made their life easier or made them happier or whatever.
I am one of those people.
And you were one of them. You were
Yes.
one of them. Gosh, I feel kind of guilty that I'm so much happier now. And the reality is that would have unfolded one way or another for us.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, our life would have said, okay, it's time to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened that it did it this way, this time. So what's the big problem with being happy that we got to see what we needed, right?
What I got to experience for myself is I learned that even when my calendar is empty, I will fill it with stuff. So it was this knowledge of the fact that my busyness is completely me. Have you feel like you've caught any of that for yourself?
Totally. Oh my gosh. I did that because I was like, I have 3 jobs and I have 4 projects I have to work on, and I have this volunteer program that I'm running and all these different things going on, and I'm so busy. And all of a sudden I didn't have 3 jobs anymore. Those all went away. And I was still busy. I was still crazy. I thought, oh, geez, what is wrong with me? That I lost 3 jobs and I'm still this busy? And it really was that, well, let's fill that time up with something else. And somebody told me, I'm trying to remember who said it, somebody very recently, like in days past, told me, well, the universe abhors a vacuum. We don't like a void. We need to fill the void. And I'm like, yeah, but the universe doesn't want to fill the void with crap. The universe doesn't want to just fill the void with stuff. The universe says, yes, let's make space for something new to expand and express here. And I'm going, great, let's shift this pile over here into that void for now. And what I really need to be doing is going, okay, I have a void, I have a space. What shall I put there? I think I shall put my peace of mind there. I think I shall put good there. I think I shall put my own personal love there and see how it expands and expresses, right? So it's funny that's slowly becoming my new norm. And it's not really a new norm. It's the norm that I was born with. It was the norm that we were all born with. It was our auto default to be in that space of love and self-love and self-preservation on all fronts, right? And instead we chose a new default and said, let's be super successful in our jobs and let's be the best baseball player. I don't know. We just filled it with something else, when the reality is I just need to be a loving human presence on this planet, expanding and expressing that loving presence. So that's the.
I appreciate you sharing all of that. We've got Jason and Heather Powers coming up next, and I appreciate you coming in and sharing all of your wisdom and how you are coping and leaning into gratitude around this. So thank you very much for sharing that gift.
I love you. Thanks for inviting me.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So as promised, Jason and Heather Powers are closing us out for the evening. And as you may have seen in the comments, you are invited to give. As I said at the top of this, that I don't take any funds for this, and all goes to the musicians. Jason and Heather are examples of that. Thank you for joining us. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
You guys are adorable. Do you have a song for us, Jason and Heather, to close us out for the night?
We do have a song. We do.
We totally do. And we're going to actually back up a little bit because we're going to do it like on the microphone. So we've never done it like in this little particular Instagram box before. So roll with us. For just
I will. Absolutely.
You're doing great, though.
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
Clockwork. It's
so
crazy.
good. Everybody's conversation and what everybody's contributing is so helpful.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's what it's all for. That's why I do this work. So it's good to know the people involved are getting something out of it. Thank you.
Good.
So can you hear us good?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So this is a song that we felt guided to do for Easter and everything that's going on. You know, there was just talking about being happy. And it seems guilty sometimes to feel happy when chaos is going on, but those of us that have tools have a choice to choose our adventure, which you're going to go downstream or you're going to try to go upstream. And going downstream tends to be a joyful journey. So this is a blessing that we want to give to all those that are listening, to all life, just to be happy, to be free of death, the fear of death. That's what Easter's all about. That we rise. Death is not but a G thing, baby. So it's a God thing, right? The G thing. So this is Loka Samasta Sukino.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May my words and thoughts and feelings be the blessing this world longs to see.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be free.
May all be free.
May my words and thoughts and feelings be the blessing this world longs to see.
Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be free.
May all be free.
May my words and thoughts and feelings be the blessing this world longs to see.
Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Oh, Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukino Bhavantu.
May you be happy. May you be free. Free to be happy. Surrender to the presence that is the source of happiness, joy, trust. You are the Christ, risen, rising. That truth, because that is the truth. We are free from death, nothing to fear. Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu. Loka, Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu. Loka, Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu. Loka, Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu.
Yes, I'm clapping for you both. Thank you so much for joining us and for singing that wonderful song. Jason and Heather performed at the Global Truth Center this morning, which was at the same time as Jessica Brizuela was performing. So I was jumping back and forth between both services because like I said, I watched like 7 of them today. So in the couple of minutes that we have left, do you want to talk a little bit about Easter or your experience of how you're leaning into your spiritual toolbox around the pandemic?
In 2-3 minutes, here we go.
All right.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. You know, for us, I know that probably for many on this call, it's a mixed bag and an incredible opportunity for us to both know the truth and really witness what's going on and learn how to hold a compassionate, caring place for people that are at all places on the spectrum of how they're experiencing this whole thing. And we're grateful for that Christ mind that is alive in us, and to know that we're here for this moment for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I've been saying over and over, I feel like we've done the 10,000 hours to be trained and prepped and purified and alchemized for this very moment. You know, these are the days. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
yes.
And it's days such as these that the toolbox and all the things, it's like, now it's go time. You've been practicing, you've been playing, you've been doing your chopsticks, you've been doing painting your fence and wiping, whatever exercises we've been doing for avatar training. And I say avatar, and I really mean that we can be superheroes in this time.
Yeah.
And a superhero is just that think of Iron Man, that's that light center right in the center of you that enables you to rise above. And this is what Easter really means for us. I mean, we've walked a path of Jesus as a friend of ours. And that message of Yeshua, that message of the way shower, that message of this light being that embodied the greatest love that we've ever known or not known, depending on how our evolution is doing. So what an opportunity, I believe. And we're feeling all of it in our great compassion for those that are in fear. And, we often think of this force, this intelligence as a mother sometimes. And that mom that's telling you and whispering you when the nightmare's going, it's going to be okay, kids. It's going to be just fine.